All right, everybody. Hello. How are you doing? Good to have both of you guys back. But we're here for another episode of Always Almost There, Day After Show Live, the last one, our fall tour. Are you showing off your hat there?
I just didn't know if you could even see that.
I can't really. Oh, someone's getting ready.
Oh, you get the tab hat on.
Dude,
Very
I had to
nice.
bust the tab hat out.
Tab hat. How are you guys doing?
Doing all right.
Doing good. Busy.
Busy weekend, yeah.
It's Monday.
Yeah, you're always super busy. Well, as always, before we get started with today's episode, a word from our sponsor. Today's episode of Always Almost There is sponsored by Versio Wellness. Versio functional mushrooms are here to help right now, whether you are gearing up for a show, going to sleep afterwards, or recovering and restoring the day after. With a wide range of health benefits, Versio mushrooms help you make the most out of the moment through the ancient healing properties in their highly potent fruiting bodies. The organic certified therapeutic potency and a planet positive refill system are two of the many standout reasons that a Versio is my choice supplement. Be clear, chill, balanced, energized, protected, focused, and calm in the moment with the Versio mushrooms. Use code STORMSOUND15 for 15% off your order, available to ship anywhere in the US or Canada. Cool stuff.
So you want to talk about what's going on right now in the world of Goose?
Yeah. In the world of Goose.
Yeah.
I said the other day that I was...
Let's zip through the show last night because I think we got a lot of other stuff to talk about.
I said the other day that I was like looking forward to the end of tour, and now that the end of tour is here, I'm kind of sad that we're not going to do this every day. But you know, let's talk ACL. This is kind of an anticlimactic end to what was an otherwise pretty large tour musically. But
sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, like, I was thinking the same thing the other day, just this 2 tours in a row where we get a festival set as the tour closer.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, yeah, that's why, I mean, that's, you're not going to get a Philly night 2.
Sorry everyone for that. Neil's got a bit of construction if you hear that noise.
So anyway, I agree, Neil. I mean, a little bit anticlimactic in that sense that, I mean, I think to have a proper tour closer, I mean, it can't be a 75-minute set at ACL, where you play all the songs that you just played there a week ago. So anyway, I mean, it's we got some big stuff coming though. So we'll get to all that. So, but yeah, Ryan, you were on the scene. What was the day like?
It was good. We went a little earlier yesterday than we did last week. Last weekend we got to the festival pretty much right before Goose and just saw Goose, and then the Chili Peppers after. Yesterday we got there. It was, first of all, it was so hot yesterday. Oh my God. Like, thank God ACL has, hydration stations literally everywhere to fill up your water bottle, because there was a lot of heat happening. But we got to the festival. We were enjoying the weather. We caught Spoon, which was really, really cool. Actually, we were like on the rail on one side for Spoon, which was fun. We got there early because there was a bit of shade, and we were like, oh, we'll go hang out in that area. And we got a great spot for it. And a cool moment was Jeff walked by right as they dropped into Inside Out, which was cool.
I saw, I never listened to Spoon. I'm not going to lie.
I hadn't really either, but Neil talks about them all the time, how much he loves Spoon. So
he's like a Spoon head.
Yeah, sure.
But somebody posted a clip of the beginning of Inside Out. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, I got to say, and I say this about a lot of covers that Goose, I mean, Rick just sounds so, Rick and the music that the band is playing when Goose plays Inside Out is just, it's silky smooth compared to, what I heard from the original artist. So just interesting, you know what I mean? It's to my ears, I mean, it's just way more pleasant, but you got to give props to those guys for writing that song though. So it's a good song,
Shots fired.
It's a great song. I honestly will agree with you. Again, it's probably the Goose bias, but I like the Goose cover more than the Spoon original. But Spoon was really cool. Not having heard any of their catalog outside of Inside Out before, and not ever having heard them perform Inside Out. But I called the song based on the opening synth swell, so I was proud of
There you go.
myself.
You're amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think the big
We got
difference
sound
between,
effects.
Yeah. We got sound effects everywhere.
Neil's not the only one with background noise.
Yeah. I think the big difference between the two is that Spoon not dedicated their craft to the live music experience, whereas
Right.
Goose has.
Right.
So I think you're going to get two different experiences there.
Yeah.
But
See,
pretty
we,
cool
we
that
knew
you got to see
we knew you'd be the Spoon apologist. On the
Uh,
so not surprising.
sure.
He's the spoonhead. We know.
It's amazing
You know.
that this has taken a life of its own, but yes, I am. So
So after Spoon, we headed over to the stage where Goose was going to be playing. We caught the band the Marias, which was pretty cool. Very psychedelic vibe. Reminded me almost a bit of Krungbin in some ways, but that was really cool band to see. And then obviously, once that crowd cleared out, got our spot in front of the soundboard. Got ready for Goose. I went up to the rail before the show started because I went and I wanted to organize a happy birthday as they walked on stage, which worked, and I was very happy about that. But yeah, they came on stage. They go with Born as the opener, which I think we were all expecting. Crowd was enjoying it to start. And then album transitioned to Hunger Site, which I was at that point, I was kind of like, oh, well, I am not going to win Fantasy Goose. Basically, as soon as they started Hunger Site, I was like, I know I'm screwed. They're going to play Arcadia and Drip. Like, I'm done. But, speaking of Fantasy Goose, for the first time ever, I beat Neil.
All right, let's. Yeah,
I love
that you
tremendous
framed it like
achievement.
that.
But
That makes me feel really good.
You're my nemesis.
That I'm the benchmark for success.
Well,
and
it was just
Fantasy
because
Goose and
I've beat
victory
the
against
other.
me.
I've beat the other guys before.
I feel like we've got a lot of Fancy Goose to talk about, so maybe we should
We'll
push that.
get there.
Push that to the end.
But yeah, so after Hunger Site, we get another repeat in Animal. Luckily, I had maybe anticipated that one was on my picks, but Animal was fun. Festival crowd was loving it. And then we get into Arcadia after that, which the crowd was going nuts during the jam for this. Like I don't know how much of the crowd yesterday were dedicated Goose fans who knew it. Like I know there was a good amount around and up at the front. But the whole crowd was just going crazy at the peak of the Arcadia Jam, which was, I loved that. It was awesome.
And yeah, I mean, look, it doesn't matter if if I went on tour and they played Arcadia every night. Yeah, I mean, I'd be loving it probably every night. So no surprise there, regardless of how many people were there the week before.
Mm-hmm.
And keep in mind, I mean, I can't speak for everybody, but did anybody really even hear any of this who wasn't at the show? I don't know. Did Sirius not? Because it sounded like Sirius didn't do the broadcast.
You know what? It would make sense because a lot of the artists are playing the same set 2 weekends in a row. So I guess they don't feel like they need to broadcast the second weekend.
Yeah.
Again,
just throw on the nugs from last week, and I mean, you're good.
Exactly. I would say that there's not anything that definitely warrants a re-listen here. But really solid festival set. Like after Arcadia, we get Drip again, which, just like last week, it was probably the most improv that we got. I think Arcadia may have been a little bit longer. I'm not 100% sure on the timings from last night. But so after Drip Field, we get 726, which went over great with the crowd. People seem to be into it. And I love this as a cool down song a lot. It's a great tune. And at this point in the set, I was holding on to like the fading hope that maybe they would play Moby. But unfortunately I didn't get the Moby, and we got Creatures Shama to close, which, for B, maybe for you, it was better that they didn't stream it.
Well, look, so, and we don't need to go super into this, but I mean, obviously, we talked about this on Twitter a bit, and then kind of we were all talking about it. Who's that?
That
Is that Neil? Is that the construction workers?
I don't know what's going on there.
So
We're talking
anyway,
about it on Twitter. We apologize for anyone with headphones on.
Yeah, I mean, so I definitely went into last night thinking, oh, I don't think they're going to repeat anything from last week. Because I'm thinking same fest, same place. I get some different people, a lot of different people probably. But it just felt like, you just played here last week. You know what I mean? Like you're going to mix it up. You got the material, you know what I mean? You're going to mix things up. And so, so there's a lot of different theories kind of floating around. One of them is like there might be some kind of like contractual obligation. I just don't know if I buy that because I don't know why any festival would. It's not like the festival is going to say, "Hey, bands, don't play your shitty stuff and fuck up our festival." Like the bands, why would a band do that? You know what I mean? Like,
correct.
So the band is capable of making the right decisions in terms of what they play, and obviously a lot of these other bands at ACL, aren't live bands, and so maybe they're
by default they're playing the same.
That's going to be a carbon copy of maybe for a lot of bands, right? And then the other theory is, well, it's like they want to play the hits, and they've got this record and all this stuff, and I mean I don't know. I'm just thinking the way I look at this is. So they're going to play the hits. That's bullshit because they have,
dozens.
There's a couple dozen songs. They could build 3 or 4 festival sets with no repeats that would all just be certified banger sets. Mm-hmm. Like that is not a challenge. And the thing about the album, again, I'm kind of like, okay, like I get that one. That's the biggest one. That's the biggest argument. Now Arcadia doesn't fit into that argument, but
it's Arcadia.
I get the album stuff. But at the same time, if you don't play a lot of stuff off Dripfield and somebody in that crowd doesn't know your music and they're like, oh, holy shit, like everything they played was awesome. I'm going to go buy this new record. Then they get home. They're like, oh, well, hold on a second. I just saw all this awesome music. And now this record just has more awesome music that they didn't play. Like that's not going to turn them off. That's going to make them go, holy shit, I better keep digging because I mean, this band has so much amazing material. So, I don't know. It's again, I was just a little bit surprised at the way that went. But understand, like, the root of my surprise is that I believe this band has so much amazing material that, you know what I mean? That's kind of that's the place where that comes from. So I just wanted to kind of throw that out there as well.
No, it makes sense. And, it also really surprised me that we didn't get a Cali Magic last night. I really thought that was coming. They haven't played it in, one of its longest gaps right now. My mother was very much hoping for that song. And
I was too.
If they had played it, Fantasy Goose result would have been different. But
microphone okay right now?
Okay, yeah, you're good right now.
Make sure. I don't know what happened there. I couldn't hear what you guys were hearing. So, but in any case, I think that's one of the big stories of this show is the fact that they didn't play California Magic, right? Mm-hmm. So they went out there and they played all their hits. I think, at least for the last few festival sets, California Magic was one of those songs that they always tried to play, and it didn't make it here. So I wonder what's going on with that song.
Yeah,
because it seems like they don't like it as much as they did, a couple months ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But so, they closed with the Creatures Shama. The Shama was fun because, they dedicated it to Jeff for his birthday. I still am curious to know what the genesis behind this inside joke of Jeff wanting to catch a Shama is. But as they went into the song, someone brought out a tequila bottle with candles in it for Jeff, which was fun.
So this is the last thing I'll say about it. So it is pretty funny that on one hand, people are like, oh, well, they had to play all these repeats because this is the serious ACL festival.
Yeah.
And you can't fuck around and not play all that shit.
Yeah.
Oh, and then also here's Shama. So it's kind of.
I was very happy with what they played from a Fantasy Goose perspective.
Yeah.
I had a pretty good night. Closed out strong. Which is the
way you banked on the repeats. I mean,
I did bank. Well, I didn't fully commit. I had thrown Hunger Site on there, I would have had a certain victory. But maybe next time. But I don't know. I think going out there and playing these songs feels like kind of what is expected of an artist when they go play ACL. Not, when Red Hot Chili Peppers goes, Ryan and I talked about this a little bit the other day.
Mhm.
They're playing probably the same 2 sets, right? Almost every artist that go there is playing the same 2 sets. So, that's essentially what they did with like a little bit of a shakeup. But I do agree, though. They could have played 2 completely different sets and they would have been awesome. But it also seems they made a concerted effort to not go out there and jam. And then that kind of handcuffs them a little bit in terms of going out there and playing a bunch of bangers. So there's the counter argument. Maybe they just didn't feel like they could, take out, I don't know, Redbird and not jam it, for example.
They've done it before.
Yeah, that's true.
I feel like there have been festival sets where they've taken songs that do jam and then
there was the Drive at Beale Street, right? Was it Beale that they did that?
Yeah, Beale Street. They took like All I Need, Drive, like all those songs, and then they just didn't jam them. There was a Redbird at Thing Fest. They played a relatively quick Arrow at Sacred Rose, or maybe it wasn't. I think that was like 20 minutes. But regardless, they could have played a quick Pancakes, a quick Redbird, like anything like that. So regardless of what it was a really fun set. Great way to cap off the weekend. We're flying home from Austin later tonight. Gonna miss the weather. I think that there's a bit of a cold front moving in right now, and I say cold front in quotes because it's still like 18 degrees Celsius.
Nobody knows what that means, dude.
And I don't know what that means in Fahrenheit, but I'm going home to where it's much colder. So not particularly looking forward to that, but I get to see King Gizzard tomorrow night, which is going to be fun. So
music
awesome
stuff.
So let's wrap up a little bit without giving away too much for our larger episode that's going to be coming out soon.
Sure.
Very interesting tour given how winter tour and summer tour were this year. I feel like they're maybe feeling the pressure of kind of the great expectations at this point, and so we're losing a little bit of that. We're going to go out here and we're going to take some chances improvisationally because, as we've talked about a bunch, for most of this tour, they've returned to kind of the, upbeat peaks and grooves, whatever, that we were used to in 2019, 2020, instead of the more, darker and spacier stuff that we've seen the last couple of years. So I think it's interesting to maybe look at that could be a factor, or whatever it may be. But I'm curious to see, if and when they start taking more chances again, because we saw a couple of darker jams this tour, but really not to the degree that we were seeing them in the spring and summer.
I don't know, man. I think there's a bunch of really good jams on this tour. I think kind of what colors my opinion of this tour is that if you kind of draw like a graph of how this tour went, I think it started really strong in terms of the jams and then kind of slowly tapered off. And I don't know. I need to go back and listen to a bunch of this stuff again. I haven't really listened to Dallas at all. And like OKC and Kansas City, like I need to take a listen to those again pretty closely. But at the beginning of this tour, there's some very, very good stuff. I thought that like Richmond was great. I thought Atlanta was great. I thought New Orleans was great. Mm-hmm. And then kind of after that, I don't know what happened there.
I mean, Arkansas was really amazing, I think, as a full show. But, in this past week, there's definitely been less consistency.
Yeah, I mean, Dallas had that one kind of piece, which was pretty neat, right? With the kind of weaving in and out of things, but there wasn't really anything noteworthy in terms of jams in that show. And I feel like that was kind of a theme towards the end of the tour. But I'm excited to take a step back from this tour and think about it. And just take a look at these jams. And we're going to do that a little bit later this week. And I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you guys, I think kind of hit the main points for me there as well. Kind of feel like this tour, started out pretty good, started to get a little bit better, and then it kind of plateaued off, and then maybe even kind of just took a slight dip at the end. But I do agree. There's a lot of good jams, and I've kind of got my fall jams ranked. And there's at least, I think, 8 or 9 that are going to make it into my 64. I haven't slotted them in yet, so I don't know how high any of those are going to be, but I still feel like a lot of the strongest stuff was kind of first half of the year. But yeah, and then show wise, again, I mean, I need some time to kind of look back at these and soak it all in and do some re-listening and, all that kind of stuff. So I don't want to make any hasty ranks. But I'm not sure there's going to be too much from this tour that goes into like my top 10 shows.
Yep.
So yeah, but I've been really enjoying some of these jams. And, a lot of the last couple weeks, I've been listening, to a lot of my favorite stuff from this tour on repeat. So, I mean, there's definitely some stuff that's held my interest and that I've really been digging. So, and yeah, also, yeah, super psyched. I mean, we're going to, like these guys said, I mean, like you guys said, we're going to get together and do a proper recorded pod where we can spend our normal 4 or 5 hours, really.
It's been too long.
Really, just really, amusing one another with our ramblings and,
and hopefully amusing you poetic. With our ramblings.
So yeah, so I don't know. I mean, it sounds like we're all kind of on the same page there. I feel like we definitely probably need to take a minute and talk about fantasy. Yeah. If you guys are ready for that.
You know what? It's going into last night. I was a little bit like, there's no way I'm actually going to be able to pull this off. And I was right. I was not able to pull it off. So
this is the second time Daniel has done this, by the way.
Really? When
just to be clear, he did it to me also, I think 2 seasons ago.
Yeah,
just came back in the last week and won.
Brutal.
Well, so let me just say, Ryan, I mean, I think you're in the right headspace. It sounds like you didn't have a lot of confidence in yourself. And so the good thing about that is then you're not let down and bummed afterwards.
Oh,
you know
no,
what I mean? So, like, because if you believe in yourself too much, then
I mean, listen, I was really not confident in my picks the night I got Golden Goose this tour. So
it's usually how that works.
So yeah, I think we should first, before we talk too much about Ryan's experience, I mean, I think we do need to congratulate D on that win. And yeah, I mean, this was a tough tour. Here's the thing. So D won, and then you guys came in, Ryan second and Neil tied for third.
What?
And then I came in.
Whoa. What are you going on about here? Oh, Neil tied for third. I thought you said
yes.
Neil and I tied. Okay.
No. And then I came in 7th. And then Kev came in 12th.
Top 12.
So had the top. So AAT pod. I mean, we gotta pump it up. You know what I mean? Top 3 spots, 4 out of 7, 5 out of 12. I mean, that's a pretty good performance. So obviously, there are some other people out there that we saw that are showing hints of some skills to compete. But it was nice to see us sweeping the top 3. Yeah. Just kind of letting everybody know there at the end.
Don't forget about us. Like, we're
you got to come hard
here. But
I mean?
shout out to Ryan Legvold, aka Legs, who was holding down the top spot for most of the tour. Really nice to see. Again, this is probably the most competitive Fantasy Goose tour yet. So I'm looking forward to as the game continues to expand, and the number of players grows. I'm excited to see how it keeps going.
I think Diesel Johnny makes a really good point here. I mean, we've got.
I don't know how long an MLB wildcard round is. So
I think we've got to. I think we should at some point take a look at the tours and look at who won, some of the lengthier tours. I mean, I think there's something to that for sure. Just if you're ranking champions, I just think
For
that that's
ranking
something that you would
champions.
probably want to look at. So,
Oh, and when did
You know,
we win
I have
again?
heard that it is looked down upon to talk about the past, or maybe kind of take a look at things to really truly decide, who the greatest is. But I will say this, because this is another interesting tidbit of information. If you're looking at 2022 overall, which I think perhaps is a better measure of a fantasy
Yes.
Goose player, Jeff Goose is in first place. He is 1 point ahead of me. And then there's a giant gap between the two of us and the next person. I have no idea how we're so far ahead of everybody else, but it's just the two of us. So, there's going to be two fights going on here to end out the year. We've got Taboos, and then we've got Goose Miss and New Year's. And I don't know what that's going to be in terms of a season. Kind of hope it's all jammed together. Question. I don't know. Maybe not.
I say wrap those together and give us one more champion.
End of the year.
Yeah, just like one more thing through the end of the year. And then, so there's that season. The winner of that season should deserve some praise. Yeah. However, there's going to be the real heavyweight bout, which is all of 2022. And
I'm currently trailing you by like 70 points, so I don't think I'm going to...
Pick up your game. That's all I have to say, man.
No.
Like, if you want to...
I mean, try again next year is what I would say, too. You know what I mean?
Probably.
Oh, man. Going to camp. So just messed you up.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. That's a good point that you made about me being ahead for the year. And so
here, trying to be humble there.
Yeah.
He's trying. Is he?
Yeah, I do like the idea though of wrapping the next shows after this. So I don't know what I haven't heard from any of the Fantasy Goose people. It sounds like there might be some layoffs over there. They're hiring right now. I don't know if it's because of this Welcome to Delta stuff
or the Drive 1,
Drive
Drive 2 fiasco.
But,
you never know.
Sounds like Jay might be cleaning house over there. I don't know what's going on, but
Neil, I need to do a better job of volunteering to do set lists on. Well, so the thing is, on that thread is so fast and furious that I kind of mute it on my phone because I can't keep up with it. And like what I do is I will be watching the show and then I forget to check it, and then it's a really small group of people that are doing that job, and they all do a really great job. But sometimes they Matthew Ross is probably right on that one.
You know what? This was Neil and I both made this mistake the other night. It was late, and we were enjoying ourselves, and he was like, "Ooh, magic carpet ride," and then I was like, "Oh yeah," and then I posted it.
Like, I don't know.
And then they got to the chorus, and I was like, "Wait a minute, this is not magic carpet ride."
Man, those kind of fit in the same categories in my brain of like classic rock songs that I've heard a bajillion times. And like, I don't know, man, like it was Born to Be Wild. And it was actually pretty good. Jeff did a pretty good job singing that one, I thought.
It was great. You know what? I am throwing Neil under the bus because it was his fault. So
I should probably know better because you were born 40 years after that song was written or something like that. So who knows?
Yeah, Neil's heard it like 7,000 to 8,000 more times probably in his life.
Yeah, that's probably true. Mm-hmm. But
is this Diesel Johnny says first time played as a choice on Fantasy Goose. Is that still a thing? I thought that was rectified.
It should.
I think Neil did not give Corey his points for that.
I was not. I have no influence on how things go on that. I just help out with set lists when it's needed. And I've been a really bad volunteer on that front this year, but I should do it more often because I'm always listening. Yeah. Unless this tour, like Central Time.
And when you do it, the three of us get to compete about who calls the song first.
Yeah, no, I have no interest in that game. I've had one failure too many to compete on that front. Never forget
the Royal Oak Echo.
The Royal Oak Echo. Yeah.
Well, good season though. It was fun.
Yeah. So I was just saying, Diesel Johnny said FTP is a choice, with the IRO, which I agree. Now the problem is that it's technically something you can choose on the form, but you don't get points if they do play it for a second. So it's kind of not fair that it's in there. I'd like to see that. I'd like to see those forms get cleaned up a little bit.
I don't think it's exposed anymore. I don't think you can see it anymore.
Okay, but it was at Dylan.
It was.
Corey
I think it was a mistake.
Picked it, and then he didn't. They did something for the first time that night, but he didn't get points, and I kind of thought that was a little bit unfair. But
Hey, he's in that chat, so he can work it out with them.
Yeah, totally. Okay, cool. So yeah, listen, we've got some pretty exciting stuff coming right up, though. I mean,
Rick's playing with
the
Phil
tour's
and Friends
wrapped
this
up.
weekend.
I'm sorry.
Rick's playing with Phil and Friends this weekend.
That's what I was getting into. Yeah. Did you want to go?
Sorry, I disrupted your preamble. Please continue.
No. So yeah, well, just saying, we're wrapping up this tour, and now boom, we've got some extra special shows this weekend with Rick and Phil and Friends. I'm really excited for that.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm kicking myself a little bit that I didn't make more of an effort to try to get out there for those, because I think it's going to be amazing. So super psyched for that. And then obviously the Trey tour with Goose, and then we've got shortly after that Goosemess shows that we're all going to be at here in beautiful Colorado, and then a New Year's run in Cincinnati. So yeah. What are you most excited about, I guess, might be a good question.
I am most excited about Saturday because I am going to Phil and Rick and Friends.
Yeah.
So I am super stoked about that one. Going with a high school buddy who is super fun to go to shows with. And yeah, man, my only regret is that I'm only doing one of them.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, we'll see how it goes down. I'm excited to go to the Cap because I've never actually been to the Cap. So that's going to be exciting. Not excited about driving down there on a weekend, but we'll see how it goes.
We're taking the ferry
to New York
over?
City. What? No, it's just like a straight shot to like right over to New York City, basically from where I am. And but like once you get down to that part of Connecticut, it doesn't matter when, it's just like brutal. I'd almost always rather take a train, but I'm not going to do that this time because I'm going to Portchester, not New York City. So but yeah, man, I'm stoked for that. That is going to be super fun. And then I don't know, maybe we get like an Arabolo date sprinkled in somewhere here. I mean, they've done that a lot recently, but I also hope they take a rest too, because it did seem like they were tired at the end of this tour. I think Peter mentioned more than a couple times not sleeping at all.
Yeah, I think also they had, just seeing when I saw them, like, they were in New Orleans for 2 nights, which is like, a lot of partying, and they leave late. And then, they had stubs, which they didn't finish, loading out until like 2:30 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And then they had to start setting up at ACL at 6 a.m. So there's some really tight dates, and I'm sure they had the same kind of schedule, yesterday. So they had to, post show in Dallas, drive to Austin, and then 6 a.m. they're going again. So yeah,
they played 71 shows so far this year. I mean, that's got to make you tired.
It's a lot of shows. But back to the point about the shows with Phil and Friends and Rick this weekend. Next Monday at 3:00 p.m. Eastern, we are going to talk about them here live.
Oh, we are? This is a production meeting now. This is exciting.
We already discussed that.
Yeah. Did you send out an email?
There was maybe a memo sent, a company-wide memo at Storm Sound Enterprises.
We'll all be here.
No, I'm excited to talk about that music. That's going to be fun. Hopefully we get streams. Friday night will be awesome.
They did announce the streams.
Yeah.
The streams are announced.
Streams.
Oh, that's right.
They announced them on Friday.
On Fans,
Thursday
right?
Or Friday. Yeah, on Fans.
I forgot.
What about Trey Tour? Any word on streams there yet? I haven't seen anything.
Not yet, but I think it's still, it's still weeks away. So I'm sure they'll announce it, 4 or 5 days before it starts, as they usually do.
Yeah, that's an interesting one, right?
I would be really surprised.
Does his stuff on
Nugs or Live Fish. So I'm guessing.
But he doesn't typically stream tab shows.
He has here and there, but yeah, it's not usually something.
It's
that
not
happens.
It's not a given.
Correct. But I'm betting because of the notoriety of the tour and the fact that, they definitely won't pass up the opportunity to make another buttload of money webcasting it. Like,
yeah, man. Well, let's hope they do get streamed. Otherwise, I have to go to all of them. And I'm going to do as many as I can. I spent a good amount of time today actually researching doing Syracuse
Pennsylvania.
and Reading. Yeah, I feel like I have to do the tour closer. I feel like I have to. It's going to be, I don't know. There's like a, there you go.
$34.99 for a buffery SD stream, $99 with T-shirt and lossy MP3 download.
I would
good.
pay for that.
Those are fans' prices.
That sounds like a yeah. That sounds like a fair deal for this. I don't know. I'm really, really excited about Tab Tour, Taboo's Tour, and I want to see as much of it as I can. But I don't know. Maybe I'll figure out that last leg after I go to the first three. You never know. You never know how it's going to go. You know what I mean?
Come to Glens Falls for my birthday.
That's one that I don't think I can do, but I think I can definitely do Syracuse and I can definitely do Reading. But we'll see how it all works out. Tickets are hard, man.
Awesome. I know. It's gonna
be
awesome.
The Mohegan tickets are bananas. If you look at like the secondary market prices on Mohegan tickets, it's outrageous.
I know. I need to find
hundreds and hundreds of dollars, no matter what. And if you want to sit behind the stage, you're paying like more than $100.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Woo!
Yeah.
Well, I'm very much looking forward to that. But it's been a good tour. Of doing these recaps every day. I'm glad we started doing them. It's been lovely. Thank you, everybody who's been tuning in. We will not be stopping these anytime soon because we have fun. And if you are going to, I think we only need guests now for New Year's. But if you are going to Cincinnati for New Year's, or if you really want to get ahead of the game and you're going to Okeechobee in March and you want to be on the pod, shoot us a message.
No, don't send us a message.
We'll likely forget. A lot of things can happen between now and then.
Yes.
I don't know. Well, we have guests lined up all the way through Tab at this point.
Yeah, we do.
Oh, that's exciting.
Well, Goose Miss, we're not really doing guests, right?
Goose Miss, all five of us will be in the same room, which is going to be.
Yeah, we're all sharing a hotel room.
Who knows how that's going to go when we're all in the same room, but
yeah,
we're all sharing one king bed.
Yeah, well, you can sleep in the bathtub. I think we've determined that. And I don't know. I've done that before, man. Where you get like 14 people in a hotel room. It's great. No, I'm sleeping in my own room all by myself. I'm looking forward to that. And yeah, no, the everybody together episode, it might be wonderful. It might be a total train wreck, and we won't know until we get everybody in the room together and do it. So I'm excited for that. The anticipation really has me fired up. It could go either way, really. You never know.
It's going to be great. It might end up being a 2-hour recap of one show, knowing us. But
yeah, very well could be.
Who knows? But yeah, that's still a couple months away. We've got lots. They want to see your new rain stick tattoo.
Oh, man.
It's very small. You can't see it on his neck.
It's the rain stick is in kind of a sensitive area that I don't think I can put on camera.
Not suitable for the live stream. Well, okay. Well, in between now and Goosemas, we've got lots of great stuff coming up. Stay tuned to all of the socials. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Storm Sound, so you don't miss anything. All the podcast episodes in the future will be coming up on there as well. So don't miss anything. We will see you back here next Monday to talk about Phil and Friends. So thank you, everybody, for tuning into this episode of